2024 marks the 35th anniversary of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the third installment in Chevy Chase's Lampoon films. While the film was initially met with mixed reviews when it was released in December 1989, it has gone on to be considered a holiday classic, delighting audiences from multiple generations. A big part of the appeal is the laugh-a-minute script by 80s cinema icon John Hughes, who managed to wring biting sarcasm and genuine emotion out of the Griswold family's Christmas from Hell. So join the great pop culture debate players as they refill their eggnog, take an imaginary dip in an in-ground pool, and bring out the rubber sheets and the gerbils while reenacting and debating the best quotes from the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Like the yak woman, I'm ugly as sin, but a nice gal and a hell of a good cook. I'm your host, Eric Rezsnyak. Please help me welcome my panelists for this episode, who will all receive a one-year membership to the Jelly of the Month Club, the gift that keeps on giving. First up, it's the Margot to my Todd. Please welcome back Karissa Kloss. Hey, Karissa. Looks like the Griswolds are arriving at the neighbor's house for cocktails.
I hope they have too many Christmas margaritas and wipe out on the icy sidewalk.
Oh, I'm sure they'll fall, but I don't think we're lucky enough for them to seriously injure themselves. Next, he drove all the way out here just to get one of those stupid ties with the Santa Clauses on it. It's Michael Schwarz.
And you know what, Eric? I already had one at home.
Well, please drive back safely, Michael. I don't want to spend the holidays dead. And finally, he's everyone's unwelcome relative at Christmas. It's Zack Derby.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I sure hope Santa remembers to clean up after he comes down your chimney.
Ooh, come and get these cookies, Santa. And up in the producer booth, we have Bob Erlenbach, who has been looking for a new job, but Catherine says he's holding out for a management position. If you're curious about how we ended up with this seasonal 16, become a Patreon supporter of the podcast or listen to the 3-minute preview available wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, you can head to this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com to find the listener bracket so you can play along with us at home. While you're there, check out our other best quote episodes for movies such as Beetlejuice, Clue, Steel Magnolias, Drop Dead Gorgeous, Clueless, and more. And with that out of the way, let's apply our non-caloric silicone-based kitchen lubricant to our saucer sleds so we fly into these debates. Later, dudes, let her rip. First up, things are looking crappy for one of the film's most repeated quotes. I will be playing Clark as he informs Ellen, played by Karissa, what Eddie, our friend Zack, is doing with the tenement on wheels outside our house. Then I'll switch to take on the role of Ellen while Michael delivers Clark's succinct analysis of their Christmas situation. Karissa, take it away.
What are you looking at?
Oh, the silent majesty of a winter's morn, the clean, cool chill of the holiday air, an asshole in his bathrobe, emptying a chemical toilet into my sewer.
Shitter was full.
Ah, yeah, you checked our shitters, honey? Thank you very much. And now it's going to be me playing Ellen and Michael playing Clark. Clark, I think it'd be best if everyone went home before things get worse.
Worse? How could things get worse? Take a look around here, Ellen. We're at the threshold of hell.
The threshold of hell. Oh, that takes me back. So the matchup is shitter was full versus we're at the threshold of hell. Michael, don't throw me down, but do tell me why threshold is a better quote in this situation. I have checked our shitters, and I believe there is still room for more votes for this iconic quote. I'm going to go first because I'm weirdly on the outs here. I honestly don't understand this vote, guys. I need you to explain it to me. I don't. There are literally posters, T-shirts, even faux cross-stitch samplers that have, quote, Merry Christmas shitters full on them. I own one of them. My brother sent them to all of us for Christmas one year because we're that tacky. Eddie in his robe and his stupid hat emptying the chemical toilet is one of the defining frames of this film. Threshold of Hell is a great line, and it's well delivered, but we have multiple other funnier lines from that scene on this bracket, but Michael, talk to us why that one should advance.
Well, I think you kind of just argued yourself into that one, Eric. This is it is a great scene, but it's a very visual scene. It's not necessarily about the quote so much as the visual of Eddie in that like mid-thigh robe that he's wearing out there while he's emptying the shitter for it. I think that really, when we get to the threshold of hell, it really is that breaking point in the film where everything is really funny in a lighthearted way ahead of time, but this is where we hit the dark comedy part of this, where it's just that descent into hell that we get, the beginning of the manic energy that happens in the rest of the house for the rest of that movie for us.
Okay, Karissa, where are you on this one?
I'm with Threshold of Hell still. I guess, I don't know. I don't know. Shitter's full. It is one of the very iconic quotes from this very iconically quotable movie, but I don't repeat it in my daily life. It doesn't come up a lot. I know it's quotable and I know people love it. But I don't know. There's something a little bit uncouth about it to me.
It is uncouth, absolutely, but it is also Cousin Eddie delivering it, who is like the Webster definition of uncouth.
Oh, I know.
I know. All right, well, that's fine. Zach, where are you? You sticking with the Threshold of Hell, or are you going with Shitters Full?
You know, Eric, I'm going to switch.
Zach, say it ain't true.
And and you convinced me. You convinced me because as I'm thinking about this, Threshold of Hell I do like as a quote, and it is towards the end where we are in the dark humor, but we do have other dark humor quotes that I think are going to outdo Threshold of Hell anyways, at least in my personal opinion, and I quote Shitters Full. So upon further review, I have decided to switch.
Zach has checked the shitters, and he found them to not be full. So that was the ultimate number one vote. All four of us put Shitters Full on our bracket. So that will move into round two. It's a Christmas miracle, everybody.
Shaking it up already.
We're shaking things up already. Next, Karissa and Michael will play Ellen and Clark respectively as they reenact Ellen's sage warning about what will happen when the whole family comes to visit. That will go up against Francis and Art savaging Clark's non-functional light display, with Karissa playing Audrey, Zach playing Art, and myself playing Francis. Karissa, why don't you start us off as Ellen?
You set standards that no family activity can live up to.
When have I ever done that?
Parties, weddings, anniversaries, funerals, holidays.
Good night, Ellen.
Vacations, graduations.
I think also the important thing is in this scene, he's covered with sap and he's flipping through the magazine and it gets stuck. Pages. And her hair gets stuck in his hand and he goes to turn off the light and the light gets stuck in his hand. Fucking great.
It's a very strong physical gag as well that goes along with the quote that I love.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, I will start off as Francis. Talk about pissing your money away. I hope you kids see what a silly waste of resources this was.
He worked really hard, Grandma.
So do washing machines.
All right, so it's you set Sanders, no family can live up to, versus I hope you kids see what a silly waste of resources this was. Karissa, why do you hold standards to such a, high standard as a quote? Zach, explain why we shouldn't waste our votes and put our resources into Francis and Art's dismissive bitchery. Karissa, please go first.
Well, we already kind of talked about what's so great about this, and it's that I think it's a very funny, all-encompassing quote. It happens 10 minutes in, so, Ellen this is, I think, the first where you really get she's long-suffering here, entertaining all of his whims, and how it never goes right. And then also the sap, the hair. Like, even before this is when he's turning through the magazine and, pages are getting stuck, and she's helping remove them, but just... I think it sets up the rest of the movie and gives insight into Clark's character and his history. And I think it's the 1-2 punch of a very funny, amusing quote and a really great physical comedy scene.
Yeah, perfect. And the delivery on almost all the lines in this movie, some of these are pretty soft jokes, but man, this whole cast is on fire. Zach, talk to us about the Art and Francis scene shitting all over the light display.
So Art and Francis, it's the trope of the in-laws that they hate you. You are never good enough. Everything you do will never, live up to their expectations. She should have married the doctor. She should have, why did she settle? And just this quote gets me every time. I love the back and forth with Clark and Ellen. But this one is just so dismissive. And it you already kind of know what Art and Francis are like, but it's just a quick little one-liner of, well, he tried really hard. Yeah, so does a washing machine. That's something my grandfather would say.
Absolutely.
And it is. I hear my older family's generation of, rub some dirt in it. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily I don't do that with my own son, but it brings back the trauma. I mean, the memories that I grew up with, for good or for worse.
Excellent. Michael, where are you on this one? Is it going to be you said standards no family can live up to, or the Francis and Art of it all?
Well, I'm sticking with the Francis and Arnold. I mean, this is just the way that Doris Roberts delivers that line to start us off, to just like lob it up in the air so that E.J. Marshall can come down and knock that right out of the air and get their point across that Clark will never be good enough for their little girl.
And the thing is, they're probably right. Like,
they are. Absolutely,
they're
right.
100% correct. They should hate that man. Yeah, I don't remember what I originally voted for here, but I'm also going to go with the washing machines line because, like, as you've all pointed out, like, I can hear my grandfather saying that. Like, literally, I remember my grandfather coming to our house. I would always do the outside lights with my father. And my grandfather said, looks like a cat house. Like, that's exactly the type of thing. So we are going to move. He worked really hard, Grandma, into round 2. Next up, Karissa will play Clark as he gives his coworkers an iconoclastic holiday greeting. Then I will play Clark responding to Zack as the yuppie neighbor disapproving of Clark's choice of Christmas tree. Karissa, you're up first again.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
I wish we'd gotten Happy Kwanzaa in there, but this may have been pre-Kwanzaa being a national thing. So great job. Thank you, Karissa. Zack, do you want to start us off as Todd?
Hey, Griswold, where do you think you're going to put a tree that big?
Bend over and I'll show you.
You've got a lot of nerve talking to me like that, Griswold.
I wasn't talking to you. It's the delivery again. And also, like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus says nothing in that scene. But the look of death on her face is so good. So it's Merry Christmas, Kiss My Ass versus Bend Over and I'll Show You, which actually sounds very much like Christmas Eve at the gay bar. Karissa, tell us why we should pucker up with Clark's non-denominational festive farewell. I will explain why casually but savagely insulting your douchebag neighbor's wife is a read with room to grow. Karissa, go first.
So this is the first scene that happens around Clark's work, and this is at his office, and it's right after Frank Shirley has called him Mark and then Bill. And he's right before that he's talking with his coworker about how he put down a deposit for the pool, and he's really hoping for that bonus, and then he's so utterly dismissed, and he sort of feeds that back as Frank Shirley and his entire crew of men following him around office to office walk past. So I think, again, this is a quote that really gives us a lot of insight into a character's background and what they're doing and motivations, and kind of sets up the future here, but also just being like, Merry Christmas, kiss my ass, kiss his ass, and then Happy Hanukkah. Great. It's so great.
So good. Can we pause to mention that Clark is a bad person for putting a down payment on a swimming pool for a bonus that he does not know he's going to get? Like, don't do that, people.
He's the irresponsible fun dad. It's like, he's so exactly that guy. He's very irresponsible. There's no way to think it doesn't extend to his finances.
It's so true. It's so true.
We've seen the whole trend of this all the way back to Family Vacation.
Wally World, absolutely. Right? So this one's a tough matchup, and I'm fine with Bend Over and I'll Show You going out, but it is a great insult. I use it all the time with people, whether I like them or not, because most of the people I know are giant whores. Todd and Margot are ultimately completely unnecessary to this film, but every second they are on screen is hilarious. This is no exception. It immediately sets the tone that Clark hates their guts as much as they hate his, and what's more suburban reality than that? Zack, where are you on this one?
I am still sitting on Kiss My Ass, just because for me, I was in a very sheltered family growing up, so I did not see the National Lampoon until I was well beyond probably where most everybody saw it growing up. So for me, I had no knowledge of Clark or any of his, like, who he was or how he was. And for me, it came out of fucking left field of, okay. It took a corner. And it's just one of those quotes that sticks out of Merry Christmas, kiss my ass. And it's just like the fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out. The kind of same delivery with everything and just catches you off guard. But I agree that the Bend Over and I Show You is a great insult.
It is. Michael, is it Bend Over and I'll Show You or Merry Christmas, Kiss My Ass?
Well, I love Bend Over and everything. I think that there's a better part for this. As a person who works in retail entering the holiday season, I've got Merry Christmas, Kiss Your Ass, Kiss My Ass, Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah going through my head all day long. This is something I live for the next 2 months.
Yep. I'm completely fine with it, so we will move Merry Christmas, Kiss My Ass into round 2. Next up, Karissa will play Great Aunt Bethany, who has been asked to deliver a key speech at her 80th Christmas, with Zack assisting as Clark, me playing Nora, and Michael as the beleaguered Uncle Lewis. That will go up against Zack playing Clark as he shops at a department store, with Michael in the role that he was born to play, Mary the lingerie gal. Zack, kick us off.
Since this is Aunt Bethany's 80th Christmas, I think she should lead us in the saying of grace.
What, dear?
Grace.
Grace? She passed away 30 years ago.
They want you to say grace. The blessing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
You didn't see it. This is visual media, but every person on this call just put their hand over their heart as she said the pledge. Thank you so much. It was a great Bethany and Lewis, you guys. Zack, do you want to kick us off as Clark? And Michael will be the lingerie gal.
Oh, I was just smiling. I was just browsing.
For your wife or your girlfriend?
What happened? I guess it wouldn't be any. It wouldn't be the Christmas shopping season if the stores weren't any less hotter than they are. Is it warm in here?
Well, you have your coat on.
Yes. Oh, I do. How did that happen?
Because it's cold out?
Yes, yeah, it is. It's a bit nipply out. I mean nippy out. What did I say? Nipple? Well, there is a nip in the air, though.
Okay, clap for these hookers. That was absolutely 5-star. Both of you absolutely nailed that. I couldn't have asked for anything more. Wonderful job. So it's the blessing versus it's a bit nipply out, or really all of Clark's tongue-tied, horny shopping interaction. Michael, why are you saying a prayer that the blessing makes it into round 2? Zack, log your praise. Not that I'm saying that you have a log or that you don't have a log. What am I saying? For Clark's shopping debacle. Zack, please go first.
I went with this one because it reminded me of trying to talk to any girl at any point of my life. Was just my brain shut down. It ceased to work. It's like the Eddie Izzard quote of being unable to talk to the girl. And just, I envisioned myself in all of my high school going, I didn't mean to say that. Well, I'm saying it now. Brain, shut up. Okay, nipple? What? No. And it continues on, of course, in another scene. But for me, it was just my relation to that of being an awkward teenager and even awkward adult, dating and just having your brain shut down.
Michael, talk to us about the blessing, which I have to say, again, audio medium, so you can't see me pointing to my mouth every time I say it.
No, and I agree. I think that there is a lot of things that we really all can identify with in that scene that Zack talks about. But honestly, for God's sakes, who doesn't walk away going, the blessing? Every time we talk about this movie, it's one of... and the fact that Bethany goes into the Pledge of Allegiance for it, and like everybody, and in the film, everybody just stands up and puts their hand over their heart and has this moment. It really is just, it's one of the iconic scenes in this film. I think the department store is great, especially when Russ walks up to Clark when he's at the counter flirting with the sales lady.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that. When I do these, sometimes it's all about what's had the greater impact on popular culture, and I think more people walk away remember the blessing than anything else.
Karissa, what do you think?
I'm with Nipply. I often say still, it's a tidbit nipply out. Like, this is... It's an excuse to talk about boobs. Like, yes.
I'm always.
You don't need an excuse, Karissa.
Okay for that.
That's true.
I know, but it's nice to have one because then you're not even just talking about your own.
So I went and I checked because I'm with Michael on this one. I do think the blessing is the more iconic moment in the film. However, looking at our bracket, the Nipley actually is a top seed. Like, we all put it down. So the Nipley will continue into round 2. Yes. Next, Zack will play deranged Clark, delivering one of cinema's greatest meltdown monologues, while also besmirching the good names of Misters Harry Bing Crosby and Daniel Kaye. Then Zack will play gracious host Clark, making an unusual offer to myself, playing Eddie. Zack, take it away.
Where do you think you're going? Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out to this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. No. We're all in this together. This is a full-blown, 4-alarm holiday emergency here. We're going to press on, and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. And when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney tonight, he's going to find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house.
You're goofy. I that wasn't even part of the quote, but you have to say it. Well done. That is a tough monologue, and you did a great job. You wrung every bit of rancor out of it. And I'm going to have you go again. You're going to be Clark, and I'm going to be Eddie.
Can I refill your eggnog for you? Get you something to eat? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere and leave you for dead?
No, I'm just doing just fine, Clark. You don't even need the Eddie part of it. It's really the Clark.
Yep.
And I think it's a Christmas miracle because we are unanimous in our decision that Clark's tirade should advance here, meaning that the Eddie interaction really will be left for dead in our bracket. Next, the ayes have it, as it's 2 quotes weirdly about seeing or not seeing. First, Karissa will play Francis and Michael will play Eddie as they discuss the mystery of Ruby Sue's vision. Then Zack will play Clark and I'll be Ellen as the Griswold look adoringly at their family Christmas tree. Karissa, take it away.
Oh my gosh, her eyes aren't crossed anymore.
That's something, ain't it? She falls down a well, her eyes go cross. She gets kicked by a mule, they go back to normal. I don't
know. Well done. We're having some good Eddies this episode. I appreciate it. And Zack, do you want to kick us off here?
Isn't it a beaut, Audrey?
She'll see it later, dear. Her eyes are frozen. So oh my gosh, her eyes aren't crossed anymore. Versus she'll see it later, her eyes are frozen. Karissa, don't be cross at us. Just explain why Ruby Sue's medical condition deserves to advance. Zack, I hope you brought a saw with you, as you'll need to cut down the opposition to Audrey's frozen eyes. I'm going to have Zack go first.
I love how we have 2 eye quotes going against each other.
Yep.
For me, it's just the simple in the fact that it was a physical gag, but I didn't notice it the first time. And then when I think it was the second time I was watching it, they actually glazed her eyes over with whatever makeup to show, oh, her eyes are frozen. And again, it's Ellen's perfect delivery with her response to Clark, because Clark is an idiot and he doesn't know what he does, and he's oblivious to everything, and it's just we've marched out here into the middle of the woods and look how great it is. Oh, her eyes are frozen.
So good. But I agree with you. It's the delivery, right? It is Beverly D'Angelo's delivery of that line, because the line itself is not funny. But Karissa, talk to us about the Ruby Sue line.
Yeah, so this happens right after Eddie's family has appeared. They're all standing outside. The grandparents are seeing the kids for the first time in apparently a very long time. So it reveals so much about the family, and also falling down a well, getting kicked by a mule. These are normal experiences for a child of, what is she, 8, 7? I don't know. When I was a kid, we thought this was hilarious. What is this family's life? And also the whole just eyes crossing and then uncrossing. I don't know. There's something about it. This is probably my nostalgia kicking in, but that's my pick here.
Michael, is it eyes frozen or is it eyes crossed?
Oh, it definitely eyes crossed for me. I think I do love the whole look that Juliette Lewis gives with the eyes frozen kind of thing. But this whole thing, Eric, are you sure these people aren't related to you?
Girl, I know. Carissa's like, who falls down wells? I'm like, listen, I don't know about you.
It's a Rezsnyak family story, I swear.
It seemed very reasonable to me when I was watching it. The lip funkers we haven't identified yet, again, relatable content. So it's eyes crossed for you. I'm going to go ahead and vote for eyes crossed as well. I do think think, like we said, Zach, it's the delivery of the line, not the line itself, that's funny. And the Ruby Sue one is genuinely funny. So that will be moving into round 2. Next, Michael will deliver another of Clark's iconic meltdown monologues, this time as he unwittingly sets into motion the third act of the film, which involves kidnapping, a swatting, and ultimately threats of rubber hose beating. Then, speaking of iconic, Karissa will be Margot and I will play Todd as they attempt to deduce what happened to their living room rug. Michael, dip your Wallywood mug into the punch bowl of warm eggnog and go for it.
Hey, if any of you are looking for a last-minute gift idea for me, I have one. I'd like Frank Shirley, my boss, right here tonight. I want him brought from his happy holiday slumber over on Melody Lane with all the other rich people, and I want him brought right here with a big ribbon on his head. I want him to look me straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Woo! That is another 5-star. Like this is the moment that you've been made for, Michael. This
Absolutely.
is it.
I've been worried
You've
about
done
this
it.
one all day.
You've done a great job. Wonderful, wonderful delivery. Thank you. I will play Todd and Karissa will be Margot. Well, something had to come through the window. Something had to break the stereo.
And why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot. So it's Clark's absolutely peerless assassination of Frank Shirley's character versus why is the carpet all wet, Todd? Karissa, explain why the bougie neighbors deserve some respect in this bracket. Michael, tell us why Clark's rant is good. It's good. It's good. Karissa, please go first.
Okay, the bougie yuppie neighbors, Margot and Todd, the older I get, every time I revisit this movie, the more I side with them.
Yes.
These poor people, right? They live next door to this unhinged maniac. And this is so, like, they worked, they came home, probably ready to put their feet up finally, and their window is broken, their stereo is ruined, I don't know, there's glass all over their CDs, and a giant wet spot on the carpet. And just this little, why is the carpet all wet, Todd? It's so, them sniping at each other is something that the schadenfreude is really great. And also, as a child, we read lots of mystery books, and there was always this kind of going thing that the most perfect crime is killing someone with a giant icicle.
Yeah.
And, like, here we have proof. A giant icicle did all of this, and they can't figure it out. It is the ultimate mystery and the perfect crime.
Love it. Great argument. Michael, talk to us about the Frank Shirley monologue.
Well, I mean, first of all, I need Kevin to acknowledge that I deserve an Oscar nom for that one when you guys do your Oscar episode next year. However, this is just iconic. You know, people may not be able to necessarily recite the entire monologue, but it holds such a place. You know, it kind of goes along the lines of like, in Gilmore Girls, you don't know Lorelei's entire rant, but monkey underpants in from her. There, it's like it's this really just is the epitome of the whole thing. It sets up the whole final act of the movie for us, and it is just an insight into what we already know is a very disturbed place in Clark's head. Yes, the gerbil fell off the wheel, and it just went rampant around the rest of his skull.
And then Eddie stuffed it up his ass. Thank you so much. Zach, is it going to be the Frank Shirley monologue, or is it going to be why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
If the Todd Margot quote was going up against almost anything else,
Yeah.
I would vote for that because I 100% agree with Karissa. The back and forth with them snipping at each other is fucking great.
Yep.
But because it's going against the tirade that is one of my personal favorites from the movie, I have to go with Clark's just unyielding tirade of insults as he loses his fucking mind.
Yeah, and same. Like literally any other quote I put up there. Before we let it go, I will say that I once said to my partner, I was like, they sell T-shirts where one of them says, "Why is the carpet all wet, Todd?" and the other one says, "I don't know, Margot." If I bought those for us, would we wear them at Christmas? He's like, absolutely not.
I would wear one, Aaron.
I'm getting one for me and my wife. Thank
There you go.
I'm going
Yep.
to go find one now.
You can find them on the internet. But we will be moving the Frank Shirley rant into round 2. For our last 2 quotes, I will play Audrey vigorously peeling a carrot carrot and begging Karissa as Ellen to do something about the grandparents. Then Michael will be Eddie and Zack will play Clark as they debrief on Eddie's shocking appearance. I'll go first. Would it be indecent to ask the grandparents to stay at a hotel?
Audrey.
Well, can we at least forbid them to answer the phone? Alexander called this morning and Grandpa Clark told him I couldn't come to the phone because I was going to the bathroom.
We're all making sacrifices, Audrey.
Everybody? Do you sleep with your brother? Do you know how sick and twisted that is, Mom?
Well, I'm sleeping with your father. Don't be so dramatic.
I have nightmares about what he does in his bed alone when I'm not lying right next to him.
Well, I don't know what to say, except it's Christmas, and we're all in misery.
Which is then capped off by the, Ellen, are you smoking again? Yeah. And she chops the thing in half. Yeah, the cabbage.
Within seconds of lighting the cigarette. It's just that, like...
Ellen, are you smoking again?
Whack.
Michael, kick us off as Eddie, and Zack will be Clark.
You surprised?
Surprised, Eddie. If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
Excellent job. Wonderful job to our players, by the way. That's it for our quotes. Wonderful job, everybody. So it's Christmas and we're all in misery versus my head sewn to the carpet. Zack, why would you be surprised, with or without the head sewing, if the Clark quote didn't advance to round 2? I will be very dramatic as I explain why Audrey was completely right about sleeping with that little fungus. I'll go first here. So the kids are actually great in this movie. Neither Juliette Lewis nor Johnny Galecki were big stars at this point, but both of them would become major Hollywood success stories very shortly thereafter. The lines delivered by Lewis aren't that funny by themselves, but the fury and the rancor she puts into them is pitch perfect teenage girl. And Ellen's, don't be so dramatic, I'm sleeping with your father, is a 10-10 line, and I regularly use. It's Christmas and we're all in misery when discussing my family holidays, and I can't be the only one. Also, it's 100% true. With that being said, though, Zack talked to us about the head sewn to the carpet line.
So for this, it was, again, one of those other quick little just memorable quotes of just Clark laying out just his disbelief of how this can be happening, that out of nowhere, Eddie's here, and now he's got to deal with this, with all the stuff that's starting to go wrong. Now Eddie's here with his entire family at his house with a motorhome. What the hell? And it's just, again, one of those dismissal kind of, I can't believe that you can't even top how surprised I would be, Eddie. Just his sarcastic tone that it goes way over Eddie's head. Mm-hmm. But with that said, I 100% understand why We're All in Misery would go on, because it's a great exchange.
Yeah, well, don't go falling in love with the 10 Men on Wheels, because we're taking it with us when we leave next month. Michael, where are you on this one? Is it going to be the heads under the carpet, or is it going to be the Ellen-Audrey debate?
Well, we're all in misery for me. And I think it's the physical component of this, too, with Audrey on the carrot and Ellen with the searching for the cigarette and the cabbage at the end. That really makes this scene.
Karissa, where are you on this one?
We're all in misery.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to We're All in Misery, too, so we'll move on to the round 2. And that's the end of round 1. We're going to take a quick break to figure out why the lights went out and it suddenly smells like fried pussycat. We'll be right back after these messages. Do you want to watch more TV? Sure, we all do. But sometimes you just don't have the time to tune in, and you're still itching to know what happened. Well, for $0 a day, you can check out the Great Pop Culture Debate episode recaps. We cover some of your favorite television franchises so you can stay up to date without even watching. Head over to the blog section of greatpopculturedebate.com and make sure you never miss a moment. And we're back for round 2 of our Best National Lampoon Christmas Vacation quote debate. And if these quotes are as good as they look, I think we're all in for a real treat. Before we get into the Elite 8, I want our panelists to share their social media accounts and what else they're working on. Karissa, do you mind kicking us off?
I sure don't. You can find me on Instagram at Karissa Kloss, or if you actually want to converse with me, you can become a Patreon sponsor and join me on our very active, very fun, very chatty Discord. I am working on more podcast stuff. There's a bunch of movie watching in my near future, and also continually working on that matching separates wardrobe that I know producer Bob is so excited to hear about.
We love it. She just posted some photos on her Insta this weekend of a very cute outfit, and
Thanks.
she was living and giving. So thank you so much, Michael. What are your socials and what are you working on?
So you can find me on Instagram. I'm Gen X, so I barely am on social media. But find me at TheraXN329. I'm THERAX329 on Instagram. And I'm reaching out to everybody that's interested in the reality game community, Survivor, Big Brother, etc., like that. I'm heavily involved in the live reality game and online reality game community out there. So if you have an interest in those, hit me up. I'll be happy to connect you with some people for games that you can play.
Work. Reindeer games, one might say. Zach, what are your socials? What else are you working on?
You can find me over on Blue Sky, even though I always forget to post there.
I know. Yeah.
But I'm also with Karissa over on the Patreon. So if you want to come join us there, there's always fun, geeky, fun conversations. And there's a slew of great people. So jump on there and be a part of the community. For what I'm working on, let's see. We're going through our rants over at the Neatcast right now, where we complain about things, and we do 12 of those. So it's the 12 rants of Neatcast. But also at Podcasters Assemble, we are doing at least one, if not two, Christmas episodes. So we're going to be picking some fun movies, which you, two of you lovely gentlemen, were with us for Nightmare Before Christmas a while ago. And so we'll be doing some more Christmas films coming up this month.
Fabulous. You should absolutely check those out. Those are great podcasts over on the We Can Make This Work Probably Network, and it is always a delight to be working with them. So you can find me at Eric Rezsnyak on Instagram, or just message at Great Pop Culture Debate on Insta, Threads, or TikTok, or at GPCD on Mastodon. We are also on Blue Sky. I think it's gpcd.bluesky.social, but as Zach alluded to, I always forget to post there. I think Bob's doing a good job posting there, though. But what you really need to do right now is to sign up for our weekly newsletter, new every Tuesday at noon, that tells you about everything new in pop culture this week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via our link tree on any of our social media accounts. Now let's move into round two so we can untangle this little knot in the outdoor Christmas lights. First up, it's all about effort, as the panel is split between Cousin Eddie's Shitter Was Full and Art's So Do Washing Machines. I had no way of knowing what this is going to go to, so we're just going to go around the horn. I'm going to start with Michael Schwarz. Is it going to be Shitter Was Full or So Do Washing Machines?
Oh, this is a hard one because these are two classic moments in the film for us, but I think I'm going to go with So Do Washing Machines.
Okay. Zach, is it going to be Shitter Was Full or So Do Washing Machines?
Shitter's full.
Carissa, Shitter's Full or Washing Machines?
I know I voted against this initially, but Shitter's full.
Oh, the tides are turning, and you will need tides to get the shit out of your garments, which will you need to use the washing machine for. So, all that being said, the Shitter Was Full is continuing into the final four, which it was supposed to be out in round one. So, again, Christmas miracles. Michael, you were going to say something?
No, I'm okay with either of these moving forward.
Great. The next match will come down to whether you're an ass man or a breast man or woman. Clark's Merry Christmas Kiss His Ass line is up against Clark's department store shopping word salad, highlighted by It's a Bit Nipply. I'd like to start with Karissa. Is it It's a Bit Nipply or Merry Christmas Kiss His Ass?
I'm going to throw a wrench in things. I'm with Merry Christmas, Kiss His Ass, Happy Hanukkah.
Love it. We're inclusive here, especially when it comes to kissing men's asses. Zach, is it Kiss His Ass, Merry Christmas, or is it It's a Bit Nipply?
I'm gonna go with It's a Bit Nipply.
Michael Schwarz, is it nipply or ass?
Kiss his ass, kiss your ass, kiss Zach's ass.
Boy, this is tricky. I'm actually a little bit torn here.
There is no wrong answer.
No, I'm happy with either one.
No, there is a wrong
personally.
answer here.
Free the nipple, right? Free the nipple. No, but I do think this. The kiss his ass, kiss your ass, whatever, is a succinct quote, whereas the nipply thing, like, goes on and on and on. It's a wonderful scene, but as a quote, I do think I'm going to give it to the Merry Christmas, kiss his ass, kiss your ass, Happy Hanukkah. So that will continue into the final four. I think we may be unanimous in the next matchup with Clark's jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the Not House rant up against Ruby Sue, her eyes aren't crossed anymore discovery. I'm going to start in the middle. Zach, are you voting for eyes aren't crossed? Or are you going to stick with the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap dance with Danny fucking Kaye?
I am one of the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house.
Amen. Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye were not tap dancing for you to disrespect them in such a way. Karissa, where are you on this one?
Yeah, it's the happiest Christmas for me.
Michael?
I may be fat, but I'm not that jolly. But in this case, I am one of the jolliest assholes.
Well, Jesus Christ, pass the Tylenol. Holy shit. That will be continuing into the Final Four. And finally, in our Elite Eight round, the other major Clark rant insulting his boss, Frank Shirley, is up against Ellen and Audrey's It's Christmas and We're All in Misery. I'd like to start with Karissa. Which one are you going with?
I'm going to stick with the ladies here. I just really love Ellen's delivery of It's Christmas and we're all in misery because it just underlines so much of the long-sufferingness of the Griswold family in the face of whatever trauma Clark is currently trying to inflict on them.
Basically what I do to the panelists on this podcast on a regular basis. They are all long-suffering Ellen. Michael, is it the Frank Shirley rant or is it It's Christmas and we're all in misery?
Your trauma does not affect me, Eric. But
No, it delights
holy
you.
shit, where is the Tylenol?
Yeah. So you're going with the Frank Shirley rant.
Absolutely.
Zach, is it the Frank Shirley rant or is it Christmas and Morale and Misery?
I've got to stick with the rant. It's the quote.
I am as well. All respect to the ladies, but I think if you're summating this movie, the Clark rants, even though it's kind of cheating because it's like a paragraph of text,
Yeah.
they're so impactful, I can't not keep them. So with that, we have our Final Four. We're going to take a quick break to figure out where that draft is coming from. Oh, someone left the crawl space open. We'll be right back after these messages.
Listen up, all you groovy cats and cool kitten. Are you tired of being the silent spectator in the grand circus of pop culture? Well, fret not, my fabulous friends. It's time to strut your stuff and shake up the status quo by taking our polls. Let your opinions sashay down the runway of pop culture history like a fierce drag queen at Mardi Gras. Trust me, darlings, it's more thrilling than a game of Twister with the cast of the Brady Bunch. So stop sipping your lukewarm tea and join the fabulous fun. Head to greatpopculturedebate.com and find the polls section. You know I love a good poll.
And we are back with the Final Four of our Best Christmas Vacation Quote debate. At this point in the show, I like to take a step back to see if it shook out the way I expected it to. I also like to add at this point that no matter which option wins, we're celebrating all of these entries, and I hope nobody gets salty about what comes next. So we have Shitters Full from Cousin Eddie versus Kiss His Ass from Clark. The Jolliest Bunch of Assholes Clark monologue versus the Frank Shirley My Boss Clark monologue. So 3 Clarks, 1 Eddie. I do think it's funny that all of these, except for Frank Shirley, involve assholes or shit. That is...
What, you think Frank Shirley is neither of those?
That's true. He's also an ass. Mister,
yeah.
I would beat you with the rubber hose of all the cheap, lousy ways to save a buck. What were you going to say, Michael?
He is a fat ass in that monologue.
He is a fat ass. So it's
He's
all...
a fat ass. There's all ass all the time in this one.
All ass all the time. That's my Christmas aesthetic. So I do think these are actually 4 of the most iconic lines in the film. I'm not mad about this Final Four at all. I see Michael shaking his head in agreement. Zach, you're in agreement. Carissa?
Yep.
Yeah, no. I also think that the matchups, how we have them, monologue against monologue, concise quote against concise quote, is probably the way to go, too.
Agreed. So we're going to go around the horn. Shitters Full versus Kiss His Ass. I want to start with Zach. Where are you going?
Oh, fuck. God damn it. Damn it. I as iconic as Shitters Full, I think I'm going to switch to Kiss His Ass. It's funny. It's fucking hilarious.
Okay. Michael, is it Shitters Full or Kiss His Ass?
It's definitely Kiss His Ass.
Okay. Carissa?
I think I'm going to go with Kiss His Ass, mostly because of what Michael said in one of the previous rounds about working retail during this time of year. I think it is just highly applicable and timeless.
That's a great argument. I have to say, Shitter had a great run, you know? And I've checked the Shitters. They are full. Getting to the Final Four was a great victory for the chemical toilet, but I think Kiss His Ass, Happy Hanukkah is a perfect Christmas Vacation quote for our final 2.
Yeah, this really needs to be a Clark v. Clark final.
It is a Clark v. Clark. One way or another, it's going to be Clark v. Clark. So it's the Jolliest Bunch of Assholes this side of the nut house versus the Frank Shirley My Boss rant. I'd like to start with Michael. Which one are you going to go with?
Oh, this one's really hard because these are two classic moments in this one for you.
Yep.
But I'm conflicted. You know what? I'm going to stick with me. I'm going to go with the Frank Shirley monologue.
Okay. Karissa, Jolliest Bunch of Assholes, Frank Shirley.
I'm going to go with Frank Shirley, and I think what does it for me is the end note. It's hallelujah, holy shit, pass the Tylenol. Infinitely quotable. You'll forget some of the many amazing hyphenated insults. It's like Shakespearean. But hallelujah, holy shit, pass the Tylenol is very memorable and infinitely quotable, especially around the holidays.
It wasn't until...
I was going to say, thanks for that idea. I'm going to have to try to do it in iambic pentameter next time.
I like that. It wasn't until today, looking at that quote, that I was like, "For Flusher, what does this mean?" It means he's such a turd. It requires 4 flushes.
Yep.
And I am my 46th year on this planet. I've never encountered such a thing. So that's a great insult. Zach, where are you on this one? Is it the Jolliest Bunch of Assholes or Frank Shirley?
It's tough, but I am also going with Shirley. And a big part of it is it's been one of the most memorable quotes. I've used that ending, just like Karissa has and pointed out. It's you just get to a point that you're fed up and you pull that out of left field no matter what your tirade was, and people go, okay.
I actually would vote for the Jolliest Bunch of Assholes here. I think I hear everything you're saying about Frank Shirley. It's great. But to me, like, the Jolliest Bunch of Assholes, this side of the house, the Bing Crosby tap dance with Danny fucking Kaye, like, every time he goes off on that, when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney, like, it is so good and so unhinged, and it just speaks to my father at Christmas in such a like wholesome way, really wholesome. But okay,
wholesome,
I believe
your father.
I mean, whole is spelled HOLE too. But we have a final two of Kiss His Ass versus Frank Shirley, My Boss. Zach, which one is it going to be?
Oh God, do I go with like a shorter quote or do I go with a paragraph? I think I still have to stick with Frank Shirley. It's just been one of the most memorable things I've kept with me ever since watching this film. So that's where I land.
Michael Schwarz, is it Kiss His Ass, Happy Hanukkah, or Frank Shirley, My Boss?
Jesus. I mean, this is like, the wisdom of Solomon being applied here for us. Not that we'd ever say that about this podcast, but...
Pass the Tylenol?
It is... I mean, they both hold such a special place in what's left of my heart. Given where my head's at this moment, I really think I'm going to have to go with Kiss His Ass.
All right. Karissa, where are you?
Well, I love these both so much. I'm going to go with the Frank Shirley rant and hallelujah, holy shit, pass the Tylenol, because whereas happy holiday, happy Hanukkah, Kiss His Ass, that is maybe, you could drop that in a different movie and it would maybe work, but this Frank Shirley rant is so specific to Clark and this situation and this family and all of this that it feels more applicable to this movie. So that's where I'm going.
Can you just imagine John Hughes, writer of some of our most charming, writer of Home Alone, John Hughes, cracking his knuckles at his desk and typing dickless, spineless, for Flusher. That brings me joy as well. But I'm also going to give it to Frank Shirley, My Boss. So there you have it, folks. Our pick for the best National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation quote is, drumroll. No, seriously, drumroll. My boss, Frank Shirley. Do you agree? Are you shitting bricks? Excuse me, shitting rocks? Tell us how you really feel by leaving us a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, or Mastodon. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast so you can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. If you really enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to like and rate it on whatever platform you listen on. I want to say thank you to my panel. You taught me everything I know about exterior illumination. And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you get even more exclusive content and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one. And remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. Squirrel!